It is 10 o'clock. It is the 9th of the 2nd, 2026. I've managed to... Something's wrong with this other camera, so I've had to use this one. So, we'll continue our book. I've noticed there's a lot more people, like a few folk watching, I think. There's over a couple of views anyways. If you are watching, subscribe, because if I get paid to read a book, then I can read a lot more and a lot more often before I go to jail. So here we have What is Your Dream for Little Lily. Daddy's 40 today a lot. And yeah, his words can't describe most businesses can be started without employees, but very soon you reach the limit of what founding team can do alone. You can't run a business with the left hand and grow it with the right. You need people. My basic principle of scaling up any business is that every time you hire someone good, life gets a little easier. Hiring and managing people can be both the best and worst part of running a business. When it goes well, your company benefits and you get the satisfaction of helping someone to further their career. Some of the best relationships you will form will be with people who started off working for you and then went on to great things afterwards. You might become their customer later or an investor in their business. But on the flip side, when it goes badly, it feels like a whole days are lost trying to deal with the person's problems. These are cases where it seems like neither you nor they can do anything right. It is always the wrong hire, and the only question is how both sides can eradicate themselves from the mess. How then do you hire in a way that maximises your chances of finding people in the first group? It starts with something we've already discussed and which I know that you now have. It starts with purpose. My experience in business has been that hiring well is hard when you lack a purpose other than to make money, and it becomes fairly easy once you've found a purpose and organise your business around it. The purpose provides a litmus test, that's the word I never heard, for whether people are really interested in being part of your business, and it acts as if galvanising force for the team you are building. If you have it, then you will spend much more time managing purpose than you do people. Focus on the collective ethos of your organisation. If you lack purpose, then you are going to have a group of individuals, not a proper team. People will be focused on themselves because you have given them nothing to rally around. The result is that you will spend almost every day dealing with some kind of person or problem or compliment. Having purpose is one thing, but how do you use it to hire the right people? Hire the right people alignment. Hang on. If I just use a punctuation, I'm going to make life a bit easier for myself. This camera is just, it's baffling, like it's not a very good one. It isn't set up like the last one. I just look like a ghost. Maybe I am. Having a purpose is one thing, but how do you use it to hire the right people? Alignment with purpose is one of my hiring criteria, but of course anyone can pay lip service to an idea and sound convincing during an interview. You have to look deeper to see if potential hires really mean what they say. One part of this is a simple diligence to check the person who says they were deeply committed to the environment, isn't posting about gas guzzlers on their socials. Another is a test of commitment. Say I'm hiring for a video editor. I'll put out an ad on social media and interview the most promising candidates. Then I will ask the best ones if they are willing to edit my next video as part of the interview process, i.e. without being paid. Some people don't want to do this, which I understand, but I find people who believe in our purpose are happy to show what they are capable of. They really want the job and are happy to invest in the hiring process. For me, that is a small test of commitment and alignment. How interested are you? Is this the job you really want, or just one out of a dozen applications? Why would you want to hire someone who sees you as interchangeable? I certainly don't treat the people I hire like this. Each of them is working in the business because they share its purpose. It will help them with their career and their own aspirations to run a business one day. And I trust them enough to give them equity and equity. It reflects my belief that good hiring is about employees. Employers who both make a positive choice to choose and show commitment to each other. If you can find someone who appears to have the commitment and who buys into your purpose, then there is one final test. One of the most important questions I use in my interview. Let's try it out on you. Here's a hypothetical offer. I will give you everything you have ever wanted. Riches and reputation, possessions and purpose, fame and family, a picture postcard of a perfect life. You can live in this paradise from whatever age you currently are until your 17th birthday. At this point, it will be revealed that you are a fraud. You cheated people and ruined their lives. You are now the new Bernie Madoff. Until you turn 70, nobody will notice. As soon as you do, everyone will. The question is simple. Do you accept the offer? In response, I would say split almost perfectly down the middle. Half say yes and half say no. I don't think the ones who want to take the deal are bad people, but I do think they are misguided about what success looks like and how it is achieved. I think they have never been properly educated about the importance of ethics and moral code, and I don't think they have the right people to be working in my business. A good rule of thumb in business is that the faster you rise, the quicker you fall. Remember Sam Bankman-Fried? He's a fucking knobhead, Sam Bankman-Fried, you know. Shit, I was buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of it there on FTX because there was no commission fees, right? Then one day, these dickheads with his hair went to jail and they just pulled the rug on everyone and they just collapsed the exchange. From that day I learned you don't keep things on the exchange because it just the next day it could just be gone. I was buying loads of Ethereum at like 500 and then it went rocketing up to like 6. I know it's like crashing now, but Christ. And then they just pulled the rug. I was sat in the back of a community service van and that's when I was buying all these Bitcoins and Ethereums and everything, and it was years and years and years ago, and now every Tom, Dick and Harry is on about it. When everyone else is on about something, get away from it. The question is simple. Do you accept the offer? In response, I would say split almost perfectly down the middle. Half say yes and half say no. I don't think the ones who want to take the deal are bad people, but I do think they are misguided about what success looks like and how it is achieved. I think they have never been properly educated about the importance of ethics and moral code, and I don't think they are the right people to be working in my business. A good rule of thumb in business is that the faster you rise, the quicker you will fall. Remember Sam Bankman-Fried? The crypto whiz kid. Hey, almost overnight. Literally, his on paper wealth grew to over 25 billion pounds. You can't fathom, but I can. The quantity and then the things. There is, you know, it just baffles. That is just mega money. Then in the blink of an eye he was being put on trial, found guilty and sentenced to 25 years prison term. For 99.9% of cases, the idea of getting rich quickly and easily is either a fraud or a mirage. That is why I question though by putting it in this book. I will now have to find another one. It tests out how realistic people are about how success is achieved and what is to come. Also acts as a check on a moral code. Does this person want to do things the right way, or are they willing to cut corners? In the end, your personal brand is all you have. You have to value your reputation above all else. The option to cut corners may seem enticing, but it is also asking for trouble. In the very early days of Fluid, I was hiring for a marketing role and interviewed someone who was working for one of our main competitors. His pitch to me wasn't about skills or experience, but more a direct appeal to my self-interest. The person ran the client database for my competitor. He offered in fact to bring it with him and turn a huge amount of commercially sensitive information over to us. Exploiting it would transform our business. We could be the bigger than the competitor within a year or two, rather than the decade or more it would otherwise take. This was an easy decision. I rejected the offer, not just because it had gone against my moral code and that I knew that to accept it would take us into dubious legal territory. I also didn't want to build my business by taking shortcuts. By the time we had exited Fluid, I was proud of the fact that we had spent 15 years building that company. It was an achievement to be proud of, and never had no question. If we had done things the right way, nor did I want to bring anyone into the company who might undermine that intention without me knowing about it. Say I had hired the person who wanted to rip off his previous employer. Even if I had been comfortable with the deal that was being offered, how could I have been sure that he would not end up doing the same thing to us when he wanted to leave? It comes down to knowing the kind of people you want to bring into your business. In many ways, you want to build a very diverse team. People with different backgrounds, different ages and life experiences, different skills and interests, but in a few key areas, namely purpose, mission and moral code, you'll come to regret any lack of alignment. That is why it's so important to choose people carefully. I've been choosing people very carefully lately. That is why it is so important to choose people carefully and hire for the right reasons. Not simply because someone comes well recommended, has a relevance experience or is readily available at Helpbank. I exclusively hire people who have either run their own business before or who I know are likely to do so one day. This is my test for having a team of a motivated, free-thinking people who share the purpose of helping people to achieve their dreams and build their own business. I know that most of those people will eventually leave, probably to run their own companies. They will go with my blessing and very likely my investment, but for now they are exactly the people I need to pursue this dream, and they can do it while gaining the experience that will help them move closer to their own. Working out how to hire well for your business can take time. Mistakes are inevitable. You have to learn and evolve. In the early days of Fluid, I believe the right approach was to hire young graduates who were untainted by the experience of working at my larger competitors. I wanted people who would mould in our way of doing business. We found some great I wanted people who could mould in our way of doing business. We found some great people this way, but kept running into the same problem. After a few years, those people mostly chose to go and work for our competitors. They wanted to know what it would be like to work for a bigger, more established name. The exact reason I had hired them, the lack of corporate experience, was the same one that led many to leave. So we adapted and started hiring people who had done a couple of years at the bigger firms and were jaded by the experience. That proved a more sustainable approach over the long term. As your business grows, you may also need to change the kind of employees you hire. In a startup with a very small team, it helps to have people who can do a bit of everything. Great all-rounders will help you to plug gaps and to make up for the fact that you lack depth. Whereas scale, you will often need to switch the emphasis from generalists to specialists. As more mature organisations, you need people who are brilliant at the thing they do. Rather than those who can try their hand at most things, you scale a business by making it run more effectively, which generally means having more different disciplines run by people who can do their job as quickly and capably as possible. You don't want the same person who cleans the windows, managing the fleet of vehicles, doing the accountants and running the sales team. Those are specialist jobs that require specialist skills. However, you do hiring do it, hiring great people is only beginning. Holding on to them is just as important. People will tell you that this is complicated and difficult. In my experience, it isn't. It just involves doing something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to do, breaking up their ownership stake in their company and giving people a piece. Let me say that again. If you want good people to stay at your company, then you need to give them equity. This is an incredibly simple point that a lot of people try to talk around. Simply because they don't like the answer, they say they pay well, give out bonuses, offer great incentives, and have a strong culture. That's great, and you should do all that, but none of it comes close to giving people actual ownership of the value they create. Remember that these are the people making sales on your behalf, doing deals and managing finances. They know. How the business is doing and the role that played in its success, anything short of giving them an actual share in that success, is going to leave them feeling short changed. Whereas the knowledge that they will be compensated through a share in the business itself, not just their salary and perks, both reward them for what they have done in previous and incentive for them to keep helping you build the business. Remember, ownership conveys freedom. You wanted it for yourself, and you are not a good boss if you try to deny it to the people you hired to grow your business. That does not mean that you have to give everyone 5% stake of the company in their welcome pack. The way you deliver this will be differ according to your circumstances. There are various approaches from the director equity ownership to handing out share options that give people the right to buy shares at a certain price. After a certain time, some companies might prefer profit sharing arrangements to one that concerns equity ownership, and you might only want to give equity to people who have stuck with you for a certain amount of time. But however you manage it, you will need to find a way of sharing the actual process and value of the business with the people who create it. You need to talk openly about it and show people what the path of ownership is if they don't already have it. And you need to kill the idea that sharing equity out is a tantamount to giving up control of ownership on your business. I often hear people saying that you will do this is some huge risk. What if people leave, walk away with slice of your company? To which my immediate answer is that, of course, people will sometimes leave, and in my experience, if you have hired well, then you can always come to a reasonable agreement about buying back their equity. If that is the right solution, more generally, you have to ask yourself, what is the bigger risk? Losing some ownership of the company, or having your best assets, your people, walk out of the door because they don't feel valued? Do you want to own 100% of the company that's struggling because of high staff turnover, or 51% of the one that is thriving because its best people are fully committed to the job and working every day to try and grow the business? The answer should be obvious, underlining that few things matter in business than finding the right people and doing whatever it takes to keep them working with you. Find brilliant people. This light has let me down, but the camera has not. It's not set up properly. That's why. The last one had all its settings and that thing for it. So, how to fire people, or why 7 + 8 equals trouble. Well, that is another chapter of What Is Your Dream, and we're getting closer and closer to finishing the book. I think reading for 20 minutes at a time will do for now. These are books for my daughter. I just want her to hear my voice. It's all I've got to do, and it's part of the routine now, so I'll be uploading these daily. And I have been uploading them daily since. Check this out. You ready? Oh, you think that's cool? Yeah. So, I can't see me. And then if I, right. So, you like that. It's me and Mum. Got a good few out now. I'll keep it up, it's consistent, it's part of my routine now. I just think of you a lot. I'm missing a lot as well, and I don't want to watch it through a screen. But I know I'm going to see you as soon. I'm going to see you soon. That is a promise. What is this? That is a promise, Lily. It's not long now. And yeah, that was What's Your Dream by Simon Squibb. That's reading with Dad. It's now 22:22. A bit of 10th tomorrow, which will be a Tuesday. A few things on tomorrow. Been busy today, but busy doing different things actually for once. And yeah, it's something that I wouldn't have been able to do previously. But I've managed to feel achieved and a great success in a different realm today, which is out of my usual thing. The van hasn't moved, so I've not been out in the van, but I'm proud of what I've done anyway, so I'm happy. And that's all you've got to strive for in your day. You've just got to sit back at the end of the day and feel achieved and proud of what you've done and accomplished, and go to bed on a happy note. So that's all I can say. Yeah, but so yeah, hope you have a nice sleep, and we'll see you soon. Love you lots, Lily.